Thank you for joining us. I'm Felicity Ezewike. Let's begin by telling you that the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, has condemned what it termed the brazen and illegal detention of its president, Comrade Joe Ajaero, by the Nigerian authorities without any legal warrant or justification. In a communique issued after an emergency meeting of the National Administrative Council, the NLC described Ajaero's detention as an affront to workers' rights and a violation of democratic principles, including freedom of movement and expression. The NLC demanded Ajaero's immediate and unconditional release before midnight today and called for an immediate reversal of the current petrol price hike to 617 naira per litre. The Congress also placed all affiliates, state councils, civil society allies and the Nigerian public on high alert, stating that Ajaero's detention is a deliberate attempt to undermine the implementation of the new national minimum wage. An emergency National Executive Council meeting has been summoned for 9 a.m. on Tuesday, September 10, to determine the next steps to counter what it described as actions against the interest of Nigerian workers. Earlier, NLC Head of Public Relations, Benson Upa, spoke to News Central on this.
We are appalled, we are outraged by this relentless act of repression by the state. We are in a closed-door meeting this very moment. At the end of the meeting, what our response shall be will be made public. We have demanded for his immediate and unconditional release from detention. We have also demanded that this act of repression being perpetrated under the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu should stop. They cannot cow Nigerians. Nigerians have a robust spirit. We are very nice people. Our niceness, our goodness should not be abused by this government. Finally, take note of this poem. When they came for the Jews, I said I was not a Jew. When they came for the teachers, I said I was not a teacher. When they came for the merchants, I said I was not a merchant. By the time they came for me, there was no one left to cry for me. Take note. Thank you.
Still on the Ajaero's arrest and detention, members of the Socialist Party, England and Wales, held a solidarity demonstration under the auspices of the Youth Rights Campaign, YRC, at the Nigeria High Commission in London today to submit a petition demanding the release of NLC President Joe Ajaero, as well as Adaramoye Michael Lenin, Mosiu Sadiq, Daniel Akonde, as well as all those incarcerated in connection with the recent End Bad Governance protest. Michael Lenin, who was arrested on Sunday, August 5th, 2024, and charged alongside others with treason, is the national coordinator of the YRC. The group said the demonstration is part of international solidarity actions planned to rally activists across the world to raise awareness about the repression and dictatorship in Nigeria and to build sustained pressure on the Nigerian government as the protesters appear at the Federal High Court in Abuja on Wednesday. Let's discuss this latest development with Labour. We're joined now by members, Socialist Party, England and Wales, Deji Olayinka. Deji, thank you for joining us. You say your action is to garner international support for the arrest and other punitive measures you feel this government is bringing. How will that translate in actions that will reflect democratic principle in real term?
Really, first of all, thank you for inviting me onto the show tonight. I think it's clear that, the people of Nigeria have been fighting against hardship, struggling against the increase in fuel prices, the currency devaluation and the inflation, and we will support the Nigerians in their struggle. I was at a trade union congress session just yesterday as part of the National Shop Stewards Network lobby of the TUC. And there I raised the issues that Nigerians are facing amongst a room full of trade unionists, and they committed to support the campaigns and the struggles of Nigerians, supporting the campaign against the terrible, ridiculous charges that have been placed on people like Moses Sadiq and Michael Lennon, and all the journalists and other peaceful protesters.
All right, let me quickly interject and just ask, do you agree with the labor unions in Nigeria that this is an attempt to scuttle labor activism across board? Because when you target the head of an organization, of a union like the Nigerian Labour Congress, then it seems you want to stifle all efforts at freedom of expression. Do you agree? And what do you expect the unions to do here in Nigeria to reflect their displeasure and to force the hand of government to do the right thing?
Yeah, it's clear that Tinubu and the government are fearful of the organized working class in Nigeria. They know that the trade unions can really increase the power of this campaign through strike action, through the organized workers movement, and through raising all of workers in Nigeria to take strike action to support their demands. And really, I think that is clearly one of the next steps that's been suggested. The Democratic Socialist Movement of Nigeria supports the trade unions using their strength and their ability to go out on strike to protect the democratic rights, to ensure that Tinubu drops the charges against all protesters and the NLC leader, and to make sure that there is a reversal of the neoliberal anti-poor policies that have been brought in.
Deji, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
The Social Economic Rights and Accountability Project, also known as SERAP, has called on the federal government to end its alleged crackdown on citizens from the nation's human rights community. SERAP, via a statement, made this known following an alleged invasion of its Abuja office by personnel of the Department of State Services, saying its staff were allegedly harassed and intimidated by personnel of the Secret Service. SERAP, in a statement signed by its Deputy Director, Kalawole Uluwadare, warned that if the crackdown is not seized immediately, it will take appropriate legal action both nationally and internationally to challenge the brutal crackdown by government and hold the authorities to account for their constitutional and international human rights obligations. Away from that, after nearly 3 decades of reliance on imported fuel, Nigeria is on the cusp of a new era in oil production. The Dango Refinery is set to begin selling petrol in the local market, marking a significant milestone in the country's journey towards energy self-sufficiency. But as the refinery gears up for its debut, questions linger about the impact on fuel prices, monopoly concerns, and the future of oil sector. News Center's Adeshewa Udushoga reports.
On September 15, the Dangote Refinery is expected to commence the sale of petrol in the Nigerian market. It's the first time in 28 years that the country will be refining its crude oil. Nigerians expect that having a local refinery will translate to cheaper fuel. But NNPC says there is no guarantee of lower prices associated with domestic refining of the product in the country, and this includes the Dangote Refinery. Although fears of monopoly had been raised on the side of the federal government, and for Dangote, it's the fear of the price control. But analysts says the concept of price control negates the provisions of the Petroleum Industry Act, which was clear about the deregulation of the oil sector.
Provisions of the PIA made it so clear that we should be experiencing full deregulation following the PIA. Because if we are implementing the PIA to its fullness, these two fears could have been eliminated that's to say, in a full deregulated economy, there won't be anything called price control.
In the first place, NNPC is not a regulator. So that's why I'm sort of baffled about Dangote talking about prices and prices having to come from NNPC. It never was even the price regulator for the industry at all. Pricing was PPPRA.
With the rise in prices of oil in the global market and the value of the naira against the dollar in an import-dependent oil sector, the pricing of petrol from Dangote Refinery has become a topic of debate. Earlier in the year, a Nigerian lawmaker, James Falike, had posited that Nigeria's $48 per barrel crude production cost is the highest in the world compared to Saudi Arabia, where these only cost $9. This has raised eyebrows as a likely factor that will affect the price of petrol from the refinery, even as it is locally produced.
Prices of any commodity to the benefit of consumers should be determined by the level of competition. Record have it that there is no sector that has been able to combat or to withstand intensive competition by Dangote PLC. So, if we want Nigerian citizens or consumers of petroleum products to have the benefit of it or the value for this commodity, it should be that there should be a competition in this sector.
We have had a constantly malfunctioning downstream, and we have had this subsidization for a long time. But the subsidy has been there to cover even things that should not be there.
Nigeria, which consumes about 66 million litres of petrol daily on average, currently spends a huge chunk of its budget exceeding $10 billion by some estimates on the importation of the road fuel every year. While a local refinery should translate to a breakthrough from years of import-dependent oil sector, the outcome of this pricing system remains uncertain. In Lagos, for News Central, Adeshawa Dushoga.
Let's also tell you that since the escalation of fuel prices by the Nigerian government a few days ago, citizens have experienced increased hardship. In Abia State, with the official pump price put at 885 naira and over 1,000 naira in privately owned fuel stations, the number of vehicles on the roads and streets of Umuahia has significantly reduced. News Central's Chiwe Ugele looks at how the residents are handling the situation.
It is now either you can afford fuel at a rate between 885 naira to 1,300 naira per litre, or you park your vehicles. Transportation fare is equally not pocket-friendly anymore, as commuters now pay more to access their various locations.
Let's assume I will come to work without going home to pick something. I'll spend like 600 naira, but if I should go home and pick something, it's 1,200 naira. I live around BCA Road. I'm not talking of people that are living very far, people that are coming from Obakala, people that are coming from Ohuhu village and everything. They spend like 600 naira per drop, and the thing is too much.
The ability to manage one's resources at a time like this in the country offers relief to the citizens as they go about their daily business.
I trek. Yes, I won't be spending like that because I have other responsibilities that will take money. If I be taking this tricycle, which is keke, 10 times a day, calculated by 200, is 2,000 a day. Then how much am I being paid as a civil servant?
I do more of trekking. I have reduced entering bike or transport because of the fare. Formerly it was 100 naira, now it is 200, 300 per drop. So not everybody can cope up. And we have sliced our daily meal. Some people are taking once a day. If you have children now, it is a very big problem for you to maintain it.
I've parked my car because I can't maintain it. Because I consume not less than 10 liters of fuel every day. Minimum when I don't travel out of work. So that 10 liters of fuel should be about 10,000.
there are still those who must buy fuel no matter the cost, not because they are wealthy, but because it is essential for their job.
Before, fuel of 1,500 can even lead us for a day for organizing work. But for now, even 3,000 naira cannot do for a day. So it's not easy for us, as I'm saying. So we are just managing things as we see it.
With the incessant rate of increase in the palm price, it does not look like there is hope for the price to ever revert. In Omaha for News Central, Chinwe Ugeli.
While others are growling, there seems to be some relief for over 1,000 commercial motorcycle riders, also known as Okada riders in Kaduna State, northwest Nigeria. They are beneficiaries of a free premium motor spirit initiative to help cushion the impact of high cost on their businesses. The distribution, which is part of an initiative of a non-governmental organization, is to alleviate poverty and empower citizens. It is also a way to encourage them and put smiles on their faces. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, completes the report.
The recent increase in the price of fuel from about 600 naira to over 1,000 naira per litre has taken its toll, impacting the operations of businesses, with those in the transport sector not being left out. The situation has made life even more difficult as it has pushed many transporters to abandon their business.
I feel really bad as a Nigerian. How can I take fuel 900 per litre? It's unfortunate. Black market is 1,500. It's unfortunate.
I can't remember the last time I ever bought full tank. Before I used to buy full tank 9,500, I would fill my tank. But this, if I buy a full tank now, you have to be like 49,000, 50,000 naira.
To relieve this burden that transporters and every other business owner, including citizens, now face daily, about 1,000 motorcycle riders have been offered free fuel as a way to put a smile on their face.
Wahala was too much because I was crying every day. Even my intention to go to farm tomorrow, I did not know because I have no money. But getting this fuel, I'll be able to go and do a little work this evening or tomorrow. Then I'll be able to go to farm to go and do it.
What I get now, it can serve me for almost 2 days in all my going. And what I'll get there, I'll get something like maybe 5,000 to 6,000 naira. So I'm very happy. That will help me feed my family. That will help me take care of me, my children.
While the issue is leading to growing frustration for many, the government has been urged to prioritize addressing the needs of citizens in the face of the harsh economy.
Hunger is killing people more than what we experienced in the past government. So we want the government to do better. If we as an organization can put this together and we can put small people face they are smiling, we have the resources as a nation. It is there. So it's just that it is willpower and the ability to manage the resources that we have and make the people happy. Who put them in the office? I believe that is what this thing is all about. So it's a challenge for the government.
While a similar gesture is expected to be extended to all 23 local government areas of Kaduna State to serve as a glimmer of hope to commercial drivers struggling with fuel price increase, residents of Kaduna State hope that urgent action is taken by the federal government to ease the hardship they face.
Let's turn to security matters now. Suspected bandits abducted 2 nurses and an unknown number of patients from the primary health care center in Kuyalo, Berenigwari, local government area of Kaduna State in an attack on Monday. According to reports, the gunmen, who were in large numbers, initially targeted the nearby Government Day Secondary School around 9 a.m., but redirected the attack to the healthcare facility after finding the school empty. Musa Al-Hassan, a local vigilante leader, stated that the attackers intended to kidnap students but resorted to abducting healthcare workers and patients when no one was found at the school. This incident comes just days after a similar bandit attack in Kaduna State, with no official statement from the government yet on the latest abductions. The Nigerian Army has dismissed reports of mass resignations by soldiers over corruption and low morale as misleading and an attempt to tarnish its reputation. Responding to claims making rounds in the media, the Army clarified that service is voluntary, allowing personnel to disengage according to established procedures. In light of this, News Central's Igbalani Omoniyi assesses the impact of the alleged resignation to national security.
The Nigerian military is one of the largest uniformed combat services in Africa, with more than 330,000 active personnel. These numbers are, however, getting threatened each year. In 2023 alone, 59 soldiers were approved for retirement, while 196 soldiers resigned in August this year, according to media rounds. The previous years saw 261 soldiers resign in 2022, 127 in 2021, and 365 in 2020, making a staggering 1,008 soldiers that have resigned from the Nigerian Army in the last 4 years, sparking concerns about the country's security architecture.
So again, you're experiencing a military that is constantly on the war front, dealing with threats, ranging from insurgencies that have been in the country for over a decade. It's always concerning for any military to see a high number of people leaving because, of course, you want to retain as many military personnel that you have trained over time. You've spent a lot of money to train, but people always, would have a reason to leave, for personal reasons, for family relations, maybe just as a result of the fact that they don't get enough pay.
A soldier's basic monthly salary ranges from 49,000 to 1.7 million naira depending on rank, according to the Nigerian Army website. Allowances such as hazard pay and duty tour allowance are also reportedly inadequate. But it seems the reasons for the resignations are deeper than welfare packages.
Access of Sapana, Basari, Dutsema, Kankara, Musa, we know where these people are. Just because the authorities have not shown the political will to eliminate these terrorists. That's why I support soldiers who don't want to continue to die needlessly for a battle where the government don't have the political will to finish the terrorists. The right thing is, you resign. You resign.
Reacting to the development, Director of Army Public Relations Major General Yema Nwachukwu stated that service in the Nigerian Army is not conscripted and soldiers are free to leave for medical or personal reasons.
I think I should appeal to our media to play down some of this most times instead of hyping it and causing a lot of tension within the military and the society. Some of the allegations made of corruption in the military. If there are corruption, yes, it should be condemned, but I don't think that is why the troops, the non-commissioned officer, the rank and file, should be leaving.
As the country grapples with the implications of these developments, there are growing calls for the authorities to urgently address the issues to stem further resignations and boost morale within the armed forces. In Lagos for News Central, I am Igbalani Omoniyi.
To discuss this, we're joined by the National Secretary, retired members of the Armed Forces, Roy Kidiave. Roy, thank you for joining us on the news. As a former military personnel, what would you say are some of the leading causes of retirement from the Nigerian Army?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I really appreciate News Central for taking this direction in this narrative. Now, you can see that one thing we don't value in Nigeria is content and future utilization. Now, we have so many people that have been trained in Nigeria. If out here in the US, most of the things I do are intellectual and intelligent military and security applications. And I'm very valued, And I met so many other Nigerians outside of Nigeria in different countries that we collaborate with. And they are held in high esteem, But unfortunately, one of the things that destroys our interest in the Nigerian military to continue to serve is the exit plans that is obvious to everyone. The moment you are leaving the service, there is no other thing for you. And the soldiers are the most loyal in the world because you can never see the highest of statistics of military veterans that are involved in criminal activities in Nigeria, banditry and all of that. If you take note, it is very minimal. And if you look at the officer cadre, they leave also, but you cannot see that statistics. And one of the areas where they leave to is when a junior officer is promoted to be the chief of army staff and all his superiors are retired unceremoniously, and these things destroys the morale of the troops.
How does Nigeria's military resignation rate compare to international standards, and what are some of the shifts that we need to make?
Yes, there is always a transition plan. We are not asking for anything. There are transition plans like the SDA, Security Department Allowance. It's an allowance that is supposed to be paid to you in bulk, that you are supposed to go into other economic activities that you want to do for yourself and your family. But as I speak to you, they have trickled it into 3 years. And sometimes they pay you every quarter, they'll pay you like 20,000 naira or something. And that's an economic plan for you. Then another thing is your medical, your health plan. So many soldiers that got injuries during the battle in Nigeria, within Nigeria, they are exited from military plans, and we are seeing a lot of downgraded medical attention for military veterans. Then your housing. So many people want to steal and get housing for themselves, because when you come out, you are going to be living amongst the bandits and the criminals whom you were fighting against when you were in service, and your children, the children don't have scholarship, you will see politicians giving scholarships to orphans and all that. The soldiers' children, the ones that died, and the women too. What's the empowerment? People go and do empowerment for other people. The women or the soldiers.
Roy, in the interest of time, one of the issues that was raised for resignation are personal reasons, and one is, there might be other reasons, but considering the nature of work that soldiers undertake, from your experience and interactions with others, do you think the military has adequate resources to support soldiers struggling with work-related challenges, mental health issues, and their general well-being? And if there is a drop in the ball, what needs to be done?
You need to understand the present conditions of the military in Nigeria. What a soldier carries immediately he wears his uniform is patriotism. It's because of patriotism. Now, the mental health reform system that is given to Boko Haram in de-radicalization, soldiers don't see it. Even soldiers that came from frontline that have been there for like 3 years, 4 years, that they are supposed to be redeployed and reshuffled frequently. Now, if you want to talk about mental health also, there is no capacity building for mental health. The medical system in Nigeria, from Nigerian military, does not have a medical mental health process where you get trauma care for yourself. Even the ones the United Nations brought, everything is diverted for personal interest. So
okay, quickly, I'm told I don't have the room for another question, but I'll just chip this in quickly. As somebody with experience, how would you suggest that the military begins to address this issue? Because it is imperative.
The first thing that they need to look at is the exit plan. Why will I want to be a journalist? Because maybe when I leave, I can start something. Why will I want to risk my life for the country? Because I will be recognized at the airport. Military men, veterans should board first. At the banks, they should be given consideration for loans to start businesses. At medical places, they should be given the highest level of medical attention. Their wives, their children should be recognized in all the palliatives that is going on. Palliatives have been given to civilians, citizens now. Military people are still in queue for their own palliatives, begging and protesting every day. In Nigeria, there is not going to be an Armed Forces Remembrance Day in 2025. All of us outside who are coming back into Nigeria, it's going to be peaceful, but there will not be Armed Forces Remembrance Day 2025 January.
That's a strong statement to make. That is probably your way of saying people are not happy with the way retirees are being treated. That conversation for another day. We'll just thank you now for speaking with us. We appreciate your time and insight. The Labour Party's presidential candidate in the last election, Peter Obi, has called on journalists to remain committed to their role in helping Nigeria overcome its challenges. During a visit to News Centre's headquarters on Monday, Obi emphasized the critical role of the media in nation building, stating that progress cannot be achieved without sacrifice from all citizens, including members of the press. Obi highlighted poor leadership as a major issue facing Nigeria and urged journalists to continue being the voice of the people and to champion democratic values. He also appealed to the media to work towards bridging divisions along ethnic and religious lines, which he attributed to politicians who lack competence and capability. He added that unity is essential in addressing the country's problems.
We can't build this country unless all of us make sacrifice and contribute in our own little way. And the furthest state is very critical because your voice, you are the voice of the voiceless. You are contributing, exposing the ills all of us because we are the problem. Don't think that anybody who is the problem. The problem of Nigeria is not the air we breathe, it's not the food, it's not our young people who are one of the most entrepreneurial, energetic people you can imagine all over the world. The problem of Nigeria is leadership, the politicians. And you have to help us to overcome that. You have to help us to overcome issues we have in this country, which are there every day. Whenever you hear us politicians talk about tribe and religion, it's because we don't have anything to show for our competence and our capability. So we try to replace it by talking about tribe. So I urge you to continue to do the right thing for your country. We have no other thing except when we will have a country where nobody is left behind. A child of nobody can become the greatest and the best.
Thank you for staying with us. The United States has called for an independent investigation into the death of Tanzanian opposition figure Ali Kibao, who was killed over the weekend. His death comes just a month after several senior Chadema members were briefly detained in a mass roundup, sparking fears of renewed political repression in Tanzania. Kibao, a retired military intelligence officer, was reportedly forced off a bus at gunpoint on Friday by suspected security agents while on his way to the northern port city of Tanga. His body was discovered in Dar es Salaam on Saturday. Kibao's party, Chadema, alleges he was bitten and doused in acid. The U.S. Embassy in Tanzania has urged authorities to conduct an independent, transparent and prompt investigation into the circumstances surrounding Kibao's death. Let's go over now to our business desk for today's updates.
Business news in association with Money Master PSB, the easy way to master your money.
The National Bureau of Statistics says the Nigerian government generated a total of 2.47 trillion naira from company income tax in the second quarter of 2024. The NBS, in its Quarter 2 CIT report published on Monday, said the amount increased by 150.83% from earnings in the first quarter. The CIT is a tax on the profits of incorporated entities in Nigeria. It also includes the tax on profits of non-resident companies operating a business in Nigeria. In Nigeria, the CIT is charged at 30% for companies with more than 100 million naira in turnover and 20% for companies with a turnover between 25 million naira and 100 million naira. A sectoral analysis of the revenue on a quarterly basis showed that agriculture, forestry and fishing recorded the highest growth rates at 474.5%, followed by financial and insurance activities 429.76% and manufacturing 414.15%. The Nigerian government's recent move to deduct a 50 naira electronic money transfer levy from customers' transactions has sparked criticism from economists who warn that the move may discourage digital transactions and harm the economy. The levy, which is set to take effect soon, will apply to every inflow of 10,000 naira and above received by customers of fintech companies. Economists believe the move was ill-timed and could have far-reaching negative consequences for the economy, particularly in the fintech sector, which has been growing rapidly in recent years. They argue that the government's desire to boost revenue through the measure may have unintended consequences, potentially harming the economy and stifling innovation in the fintech sector. Kenya and the European Union have renewed their commitment to the full implementation of the European Union-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement (EPA), which came into force on July 1. Trade Cabinet Secretary Salim Muvia met the Director General for Trade at the European Commission, Dora Correa, in Nairobi, where the two parties hail the deal is mutually beneficial. Despite criticism from certain quarters for opening up the domestic market for tax-free goods from the 27-country bloc after 25 years, the EPA between the EU and Kenya was concluded in June last year and signed by both parties on December 18, giving Kenyan goods unfettered access to the European market except for weapons. The agreement aims to implement the provisions of the EU East African Community EPA, and it remains open to other EAC countries. And that's all on business news. I am Lekon Onobanjo.
Sports update is up next.
Sports update. Brought to you by Corn Oil. Corn Oil. We go the extra mile.
Nigeria Beach Soccer League champions KBBSC have been drawn in Group C of the 2024 World Winners' Cup in Ajaero, Italy. They will face Danish duo of Real Munster and Copenhagen Beach Soccer Club, and then Al Tawun Club from Saudi Arabia. The three-time Nigeria Beach Soccer League champions reached the round of 16 last year. This year's edition will take place at the Longomare San Giovanni from the 17th of September to the 22nd. Super Eagles of Nigeria's interim manager, Augustine Eguavo, who started his fourth stint on a winning note, beating Benin Republic's Cheetahs 3-0 in Uyo on Saturday, intends to stay on the same winning course when Nigeria confronts Rwanda at the Amahoro Stadium in Kigali on Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday's encounter is the first of 4 battles between the Super Eagles and the Amavubi in the next 12 months, with the two teams to clash in November in Nigeria in the final round of this qualifying race, and then do a home and away in the 2025 FIFA World Cup race.
They respect us. We do respect them also. We play people always with utmost respect. You don't look down on people these days because football has really improved. So when you joke with it, you can get shocked. But we'll be on our feet. Remember, any country that is playing against Nigeria, they always try to do what? Raise their game. So we'll have to be ready as well.
The Games Village for the 8th National Youth Games, tagged Asaba 2024, has opened ahead of the opening ceremony set for Wednesday, the 11th of September, at the Stephen Keshi Stadium in Asaba, Delta State. Secretary of the local organizing committee of the Games, Festus Ajaero, said that all the venues scheduled to host the athletes have started operations. Ajaero, who is the Director General of Delta Sports Commission, stated that organizers of the Games have assured all athletes of health insurance in case of medical emergency during the competition. The funeral of Uganda athlete Rebecca Cheptegei, who died from injuries sustained in a tragic accident, will be held on the 14th of September. The 33-year-old marathon runner yielded to severe burns after an alleged attack by a former partner, marking a profound loss in the world of athletics and beyond. Cheptegei will be laid to rest in her ancestral home in Boko, Uganda, where preparations are underway to honor her legacy. Cheptegei's death sparked widespread mourning and calls for justice within the sports community and among human rights advocates. And that's a wrap on Sports Updates. I am Udoka Njoko.
Let's now go for a quick look at today's entertainment stories and trends.
Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited. Tonight on Entertainment News, Nigerian superstars are set to join international acts at the Promised Land Festival, scheduled for October 4th to 6th, 2024. International music festivals have become a key platform for Nigerian artists to showcase Afrobeat to the global audience through dynamic live performances. This year's lineup features Rema, Asake, and Omale as headliners. Rema will take stage on the second day alongside Georgia Smith, Miguel and Fiji, while Asake and Omale will perform on the final day with Busta Rhymes. Other Nigerian artists set to perform include composers SARS, Sheyi Vibes, Shali Poppy, Tiwa Savage, Victoni, Ruger and Benson. Additionally, African stars such as Black Sheriff, King Promise, DBN Gogo, Major League DJs, Young Stunner and Uncle Waffles will also be featured. The strong presence of Afrobeat stars highlights the genre's global rise, with Nigerian artists winning prestigious awards and performing at major international festivals. In 2023, Afrobeats has reached a milestone with the introduction of the Grammy category for Best African Music Performance, with South African star Tyler being the inaugural winner. The 2024 Country Music Association (CMA) award nominations have been revealed, sparking conversations with notable nods for stars like Morgan Wallen and Post Malone. However, Beyoncé was snubbed despite her groundbreaking success with the country album Cowboy Carter and its hit single Texas Hold'em. Both topped the Billboard Hot 100 and the country charts, making her the first black woman to achieve such feats. This exclusion has reignited discussions about racism within country music, especially since her music faced initial resistance from country radio. Despite her historic impact on the genre, the CMAs once again failed to recognize her achievements, echoing past issues like when her 2016 CMA performance of Daddy Lessons with the Dixie Chicks was criticized. Beyoncé's latest album revisits these themes, but the CMA snub continues the ongoing debate about the treatment of black artists in country music. That's all on Entertainment Tonight. Entertainment news in association with Glow Unlimited. Moving away from entertainment, let's take a look at what's trending as the hashtag Joe Ajaero takes center stage, because the NLC chairman is trending after being arrested by DSS officers at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on his way to the UK. His arrest comes amid rumors of investigation into his alleged involvement with an international spy. A nationwide NLC strike is reportedly imminent if Ajaero remains detained. This sparked a lot of conversations on social media. Let's take a look at some tweets. At Real Daoman, Chai, the very government that ascended to power by harnessing the force of public protest, now seeks to suppress those who dare to speak or uphold the undeniable truth. This contradiction raises a profound question: which part will Nigeria now? At Pharaoh of AI, if he has questions to answer, let him face it. Nobody is above the law. My only problem is the manner he was picked up. Why not invite him? At Gabriel_Bolatit, the question is on what issues was he arrested? It's a continuation of issues with the police. He has freedom of movement without being harassed. His lawyers should swing to action. At Dikbo Speaks, he should face his charges. Why is he running away from answering investigations put against him if he does not have anything to hide? I thought accountability is a collective responsibility. That's all on What's Trending.
And that's all tonight. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. Nigeria Labour Congress has vowed to resist oppression in the wake of Joe Ajaero's arrest by DSS. SERAP has warned federal government to end intimidation of staff after DSS siege. Gunmen have stormed hospital in Kaduna, kidnapping healthcare workers and patients. We also brought you news that the U.S. has condemned killing of Tanzania opposition figure Ali Kibao. Do send us your eyewitness report to the number showing now on your screen. You can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and on YouTube. As always, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.